Evening, guys. Just want to share a quick tutorial on some spreadsheet functions. I've got some data here. I've just added this data for learning purposes. These are not real marks, and I just made up all these names. Please follow along and you will learn something on spreadsheet functions, important spreadsheet functions for your syllabus, IGCSE 0417 IT. Let's say you have got a student model like this. We have the grades that a student can achieve. We have a grading scale here. Then we have the points that a student can achieve. And you've got a few names here. And you have here the total score, the average, the scale, and here we've been given the marks. Let's say they ask you to calculate the total score for a particular student. So let's try the total score for John Smith. Usually such questions carry only 1 mark because they're really easy. So there is a function called the sum function. So you start the formula with the equal sign, then sum. Okay, sum. Just zoom into this function. Equals sum. All right, then we can sum up a range. So you highlight the range. We want to sum up math, English, and bio for John Smith. And we press enter. And there we have it, 158. Then we can calculate the average score for John Smith against a very simple formula. It's equals average and you highlight the range. You press enter, and that's the average. Now let's say they tell us to round the average, to round it to, let's start with 1 decimal place, okay? So what do? You go back into your formula, double click just after the equal sign, and then type the round function, round. Let me first remove this, press enter. Please observe, this is 5.266. Double click, round. So the round function is asking for the number to round off. The number to round off is being calculated by this average function. So after this average function, you need to add a comma to specify the number of decimal places. So here we want, let's say we want 2. Close it, press enter, and we're going to have 5.267. Remember, the original value was 5.266. So that's round. Let's try and change this function to round up and see if there will be any change. Round up. Press enter, and you see it's the same value. Now let's change it to round down. Round down. Press enter, and you can see it is 5.266. It has rounded it down, not up. So we have round up, we have the round function, which also rounds up. Then we have the round down function. Okay, then you can also round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so if I say round number of decimal places to 0, that will be the nearest whole number. We're going to have now 553. Okay, so that's how you can use the round function. Okay, so we have the round function, and inside the round function, we've added the average function. We call this nesting, right? So that's how you nest functions. Now here, let's calculate the scale, all right? Let's calculate the scale based on this here. Okay, so let's say if someone has got a score, if a student got a score of 120 and above, it must display this excellent. Okay, if it is, 100 or less, but not below 89, it must display very good. And if it is 89 or below, it must display good. So this is just an example. So what can we use here? So remember here, there are conditions. So we're going to display this based off on a condition. So we use the if function. So I want to show you how to nest the if functions. So here, if you click OK, you type if. The logical test is if the total score here, if the total score is less than this, okay? If it's less than 89, comma. If that's true, then we're going to display this here, good, comma. If that's not true, then we're going to nest another function to check for this other condition here. So if values of value if false, we're going to type another if function that's nesting the functions. If open bracket, the logical test now here is if this cell here is less than 100. If that's true, what should we do? We display this, very good. We add a comma. Otherwise, if it's not any of this, it must be excellent. This is the last one, so we don't need to add another if function here because we're only testing these three conditions, all right? So the third one, it's not necessary to add a full if function. So we'll just say, otherwise, this, all right? We close. So now if you're nesting functions, the trick here, guys, is the number of open brackets must equal the number of closing brackets. In this case, we have 2 open brackets, so we need to close it with 2 here, 1 and 2, and then hit enter. And we have excellent because it is at least 120 or above. Okay, that's how you nest the functions. This is not enough. This formula is not replicable because we've referred to these cells. Excel by default is relative, meaning if we drag down, the cell references to this scale will change and we're going to get non-applicable errors. So we need to lock some cells, these cells, so double click. We don't have to lock B10 because there'll be another value for Melissa Smith, for Mutale, for Suarez, Luke, and Charlie, all right? So you need to shift down there, but this E6 must be locked. So how do you lock? You put a $ in front to lock the column and the $ in front to lock the row. If you're using a desktop computer, you can just highlight this E6 and then press F4 on your keyboard. This also must be locked. And this must be locked as well. This must be locked. And we're done here. Now we can replicate this formula. Okay, then let's say they asked you now to do conditional formatting on the scale. So that all the scales that are displaying good must be must have a red background on white text, for example. All right, so you highlight the range, and then you go to conditional formatting. You create a new rule. You click on the second option, format only cells that contain. So I'll say equal to, so cells that are equal to the word good. How am I going to format? You click on format there. And you choose the background, which is the fill. It must be a red background. And the font must be white. Just choose white. Like this. Then we click OK. So you can see the rule has been applied. Then on the scale that displays excellent must be green on black text. So let's do that. Conditional formatting. New rule. Again, you choose the second option. You change here, equal to excellent. Format. Choose a green fill. Okay, I'll choose a lighter green. All right. And we click OK. So that's how you can do conditional formatting, and then you can also perform some of these functions. The best way to practice is you need to do it yourself. So try this out, and you can let me know if you need any extra help. Thank you.